Hello everyone, today we're checking out the brand new Launchkey MK4 from Novation. This is a MIDI controller that promises to have very deep integration with Cubase. So let's find out. I have to be honest, I wasn't planning on making a video on the Launchkey MK4 and quite honestly for any controller of this category. The reason is because I'm a pianist, I'm a keyboard player, I'm a film composer. I tend to go for controllers that most of the times cost 10 times the price of the Novation Launchkey MK4. But Novation got in touch with me and they told me that this controller is going to have even deeper integration with Cubase, and this was interesting to me. So that was the reason why I decided to look into this. The second reason why I decided to make this video is because when I make videos for high-end controllers, some of you come in the comments and you say, Dom, do you have any suggestions for a more affordable MIDI controller that's decent? And this video is also for you, my friends, because this is a really affordable MIDI controller that controls Cubase incredibly well, and I'm going to show you in a second what I mean. I've used the Launchkey MK3 in the past because, to be honest with you, this was one of the first MIDI controllers that took full advantage of the new Cubase MIDI remote. It's actually the example that I always bring up on my videos when I want to talk about a very good example of a manufacturer taking full advantage of the MIDI remote. And I've been very vocal about this when it comes to controllers. You can check my other videos, but this again takes this Cubase integration to a new level. So let's start with the basics. The first thing I want to talk about is the keybed, and the keybed is an upgrade compared to the Launchkey MK3. It's really nice. It's semi-weighted, and the velocity response is quite smooth, so there are no jumping notes or notes that stick out, which is many times the case with more affordable controllers or cheaper controllers. And the action is homogeneous, which means that the white keys and the black keys have the same curve. With some cheaper controllers, sometimes you get the black notes to be louder all the time. This is really smooth. Now, I want to say straight away, this is going to retail, at least the 49 that I have here, for around 220 quid or something like this. Don't quote me on that. For this kind of price, it's an amazing keybed. But be realistic, don't expect Fatar quality keybeds on this keyboard. If you're a pianist, if you're a professional keyboard player and you want the ultimate keybed, this might not be for you. But for everyone else, for people that want to create beats, for people that are not keyboard players, maybe guitarists, maybe a drummer, this is going to be an amazing keybed for all of you. For me, I would always go for a high-end keybed, but I'm a pianist, so I'm telling you things exactly the way they are. And by the way, I want to mention this video is not sponsored by Novation. They did send me this pre-release so I can check it out, but I wasn't obliged to make a video. But I think it's going to be very interesting for you to see what this thing can do. Before we jump into Cubase and show you how you can control Cubase with this, I want to show you some things that I found they were really interesting, and I wish more expensive controllers would have these features. What you can do is you can activate an arpeggiator straight away just by pressing this button here, and actually you can latch it as well. So by holding Shift and Arp, you can latch this. And straight away I can change the tempo. Very easy to use, you don't have to do any menu diving. And also when you use the ARP, you have some really cool features if you go Shift and go to ARP pattern here. So here you can see the ARP steps. So if I hit an ARP, I can remove notes. And you can use these pads to activate different functions. So ties, accents, and ratchets. Let me show you. So this is pretty sophisticated for a controller like this. I really like that. The second thing that I really liked was this chord map here. And this basically allows you to turn these pads into chord pads. We have something similar in Cubase. If you use Cubase, you know this thing. Basically, I can go here to my scale. I can select my scale. So, for example, C minor, and I can select the type of the scale right here, Locrian, whole tone, and all these things. And then we have this chord map, and now I can trigger chords like this. And one of the things that I really like is this roll control, so I can just make these chords roll. And then you have some more parameters right here. I'm not gonna go too deep into all these features because this video is gonna be very long, but I can select the adventure type. And this gives you a different set of chords, and we have the explore. So you have different inversions and all these things. And we also have the spread of the chords, so you can have wide, widest. The other thing you can do is you can use a scale here. So if you're not a keyboard player, you can set up the scale, and you have 3 modes. I can go to easy scale, which I find really interesting, especially for people that don't know how to play the keys. And this way you can play the wide keys and it will give you the actual scale. So now if I change this and set it to, let's say, Locrian, I like this. This is whole tone, which means you can do all this harp, glissandi, and whole tone is, for dreamy scenes and stuff like this. If you're a composer, you can use the whole tone to do all this kind of, a dream kind of scenes. Now let's jump into Cubase, and I want to show you another thing that I think is quite cool. You can actually split the keyboard and play one part on the right side of the keyboard and another part on the left side of the keyboard. So for example, right here I have my retrolog, and this receives MIDI from channel 1, and I also have a pad from the Juno from Arturia, and this receives MIDI from channel 2. Now what I can do is I can go Shift and activate split right here. And now I'm going to have my bass on the left side of the keyboard and my pad on the right side of the keyboard. So this could also be very useful if, let's say, for example, you want to control first violins on your right hand and cello on your left hand, and you want to improvise. This is going to come in handy. The other thing that I really liked is this fix chord button right here. So when you press it, you can just play a chord that you like. So maybe... And now you can play this chord across the keyboard. So these are small things, but I was surprised to see that you could do them straight on the MIDI controller and so easily. Some more expensive MIDI controllers cannot do these things, so I like this. Now let's see what this thing can do with Cubase. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring up my MIDI remote, and as you can see, as always with the launch keys, you have a very nice looking script right there, taking full advantage of this feature in Cubase. Thank you very much. Thank you, Novation, for doing this. So as you can see, everything is laid out. So even if you don't know what's going on with all these sliders and knobs and buttons, the script tells you exactly what they do, and you don't have to reach to a manual or something. So if I want to start playing, you can see we have play, stop, we have cycle, we have record right here. We also have the metronome, so I can activate the metronome. I can do undo, and if I press shift, I can redo. We also have capture MIDI, which is pretty cool, which means that if you play something and you didn't hit record, you can use retrospective record in Cubase. If you don't know this feature, I've talked about this in previous videos. And as you can see, when I press it, boom, right there we have the MIDI notes that I played previously. So this is right here in this button. Let's undo. And I undid this action. We also have quantize right here. Now let's go and check what else we can do. Let's check out the faders, because I have some really good news about the faders. So I'm going to open my mixer right here, and as you can see, I have several tracks right there. Now, if I start using my faders, I can control my channels right there very, very easily, and this one is my master fader. Now, I would suggest you always keep this in Unity. To be honest with you, this would be my request. I would like this to be assigned to the control room volume instead of the master fader. That would be my preference. So yeah, Novation, if you can give us this option, this would be amazing, because I don't like moving my master fader. This should always be at Unity gain. The other thing we can do is we can record enable by pressing these buttons. And now here's the thing that I always scream from the top of my lungs, and this is channel follow. Yes, this controller follows the channel selection. How many controllers have I reviewed on this channel that don't follow the track selection in Cubase? So let's say I'm right here, you can see, here we go, I can control my retro look. But if I go to this channel right here, see, straight away it jumped. I can now control this channel, so it follows the banking. And if I go back to my retro look, boom, it's possible. Midi remote in Cubase. This is how you do it. See what I mean? All you need is a properly done script for Cubase. So if Novation Launchkey 49 can do this, other controllers that are supposed to be just fader controllers could do this as well. Let's jump here, and as you can see right here, I can also record enable my channels and arm them for recording. But if I hit this key right here, I can solo, or I can mute my channels. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it from the camera, but these light up when you engage them. This top row of pads allow you to select what these encoders are going to do. So right now, as you can see, I'm in plugin mode, and this means that when I have a plugin loaded, these encoders are going to control its quick controls in Cubase. I've done videos about this. It's a great way to control your instruments and plugins. So let's check it out. So as you can see, I'm controlling the filter, I'm controlling the resonance, and this is because I've set them up right here on my quick controls. And this is great because that means that you can control any instrument using the quick controls in Cubase. Very clever. One thing that would be my request would be that these controllers control the active plugin and not the quick controls of the channel. So I would like it to control the focus quick controls, and this way this could control pretty much any plugin that would be in the front. Again, this is one of my requests to Novation, so Novation, if you're listening, this would be really useful. The next mode that we have is the mixer mode, and this is where you can start controlling your levels with these encoders, but then we can also control the panning, like this. There you go. And now we can also control the EQ. So volume, panning, EQ. So let's say I want to engage my EQ, there you go. I can engage the EQ right there. The only thing you can't control right now is the Q. You can control the gain and the frequency. The Q you can't control. It would be really nice if you could go shift and move the frequency knob, and this way you would control the Q as well. That would be really nice. But nevertheless, this is a feature that wasn't possible in the previous version, as far as I remember. The third thing we can control are the sends. So if I go shift and select sends here, now I can control the sends for every channel, and I can control slot 1, slot 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all the slots. Let's add some reverb by using my send. So that's possible as well. The last thing that we can do is we can go to transport here, and this gives you some really neat features. Now, these encoders do something completely different. Here we can scrub, see, and it also shows me the position of the cursor on my project, which is pretty nice. The next thing I can do is I can zoom in and zoom out, and this also works in the mixer. Check it out. So I can zoom in and zoom out in the mixer, but also in the project window, which is really nice. I would like to also have the vertical zoom as well in an upcoming version. Now with the third knob and the fourth knob, you can set your locator points. See? There you go, like this. Again, this is so useful. I wish more controllers had these features. The next encoder allows you to jump from marker to marker like this. See, I have my markers there, and this allows me to jump from marker to marker. Again, genius! So simple, but it works so well. And the last encoder allows you to change the tempo of your track. So I have to say here, this amount of integration I haven't seen in controllers that are way more expensive than this one. Kudos to Novation for supporting Cubase that well, and I'm sure they're going to improve this. I also mentioned some things that I would like to see, and I've also sent them some more of my requests. But hey, this proves my point that with Midi Remote in Cubase, you can have really deep integration and you can do things that were not possible, or maybe they're not possible in other DAWs as well. Some last things I want to talk about. You can see you can scroll your tracks by using this track selector right here, which is very useful. But the other thing I want to say is that there are custom modes right here. Custom modes here, custom pads here, and this you can configure with the Novation components. I'm not going to go too deep into this right now, but you can customize all these things. And the last thing I want to show you is something really obvious, but if I go Shift and Drum, these become drum pads. And of course, you can trigger drum machines. For example, I have right here my Modern 80s Kit Max. If you want to support the channel, check out my Modern 80s Kit Max so I can control it like this. And the pads feel really nice. So there you go, my friends. This is the Launchkey MK4. In my opinion, really deep integration with Cubase, really nifty features that are creative and cool, and it doesn't break the bank. Let me know if you found this video useful and if you want me to make more videos with more affordable pieces of gear. If you want to support the channel, don't forget, check out my Modern 80s Kit Max, or you can check out my mastering courses. I've done 3 mastering courses: mastering in the box, mastering in Cubase, and hybrid analog mastering. I hope you enjoyed this video, my friends. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.